I still remember the moment the call came in. My hands trembled as I picked up the phone, my heart already racing before I even said hello. The voice on the other end was calm, almost too calm. "Hello, this is Saint. Mary's hospital. We're calling about your baby." My breath hitched. My stomach dropped. My baby. My baby who had died 3 days ago. How do you react when a place that should be built on precision and care makes such a mistake? How do you even begin to process something so horrifyingly surreal? This is my story, and if you've ever felt like the world was playing a cruel joke on you, you're not alone. Stay with me till the end, and let's unravel this together. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share your thoughts in the comments. Now let's dive in. I've noticed only 98% of you who watch haven't subscribed. Come on guys, show some love and support. Thanks a bunch to those who have already subscribed. The nightmare begins. Losing a child is an unbearable kind of pain, the kind that seeps into your bones and refuses to leave. 3 days ago, I held my baby in my arms for the last time. His tiny fingers, once so full of life, had turned cold. The hospital staff had been kind, too kind, in a way that told me they had done this before. "Take all the time you need," they said, as if time meant anything anymore. I signed the papers with a heavy heart, the death certificate, the hospital release forms, the paperwork that officially made my nightmare real. I had left that hospital empty-handed, my world shattered into pieces, and yet, 3 days later, they called me like none of it had happened. My hands clenched around the phone. "Excuse me," I managed to say, my voice cracking. "Your baby is ready to be discharged," the voice repeated. The words made no sense. They echoed in my head, bouncing against my raw grief like a cruel joke. "My baby has died." I choked out the words, barely able to say them aloud. There was silence on the other end, a long, uncomfortable silence. Then the voice spoke again, hesitant. "There must be a mistake." "A mistake? A mistake?" The search for answers. I drove to the hospital like a madwoman, my hands gripping the steering wheel so tight my knuckles turned white. My mind raced with a million thoughts, none of them making sense. Had there been some kind of mix-up? Was my baby somehow alive? No, that was impossible. I had seen him. I had kissed his cold forehead. I had said goodbye. When I stormed into the hospital, I demanded answers. The receptionist looked confused when I explained why I was there. "We don't make those kinds of mistakes," she said firmly. But I had the call log. The number was theirs. Someone, somewhere, had called me, and I needed to know why. It took nearly an hour before a nurse and a doctor appeared, both looking incredibly uneasy. "Ma'am, can we speak in private?" the doctor asked. "No," I snapped. "I want answers now." The nurse wrung her hands, her face pale. "There was a mix-up in our system." "What kind of mix-up?" My voice was rising, but I didn't care. The doctor sighed. "Your baby's file was reopened by mistake. The system automatically sent out a discharge notice." I stared at them, unable to believe what I was hearing. "A system error? You're telling me that I got a phone call saying my baby was ready to be discharged because of a system error?" Neither of them could meet my eyes. The horror deepens. I wanted to scream. I wanted to break something, anything, just to make them understand the gravity of what they had done. But then the nurse said something else, something that made my blood run cold. "There's more. The file wasn't just reopened. Someone accessed it, manually." I felt like the ground had been ripped out from under me. Who? Who accessed it?" We don't know," she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. My mind was a hurricane of fear and confusion. If it was just a system error, then why had someone gone into my baby's file? Who had done it, and for what reason? I demanded to see the records. At first they resisted, but I wasn't leaving without answers. Finally, they brought out the files. As I flipped through them, my heart stopped. There was a new note added to the system, dated yesterday. The note read, "Ready for pickup." Pickup? My baby wasn't a package. He wasn't something you picked up like dry cleaning. My grief turned into pure terror, the disturbing discovery. I needed to see his body. I needed proof that he was still where he was supposed to be. The hospital staff tried to convince me it wasn't necessary, that it was just a clerical error, but I wouldn't hear it. I demanded they take me to the morgue. When they finally led me there, my legs felt like they would give out beneath me. The room was cold, colder than I remembered. The mortician hesitated before pulling out the drawer where my baby was supposed to be. It was empty. My breath caught in my throat. My mind screamed at me that this wasn't real, that this was some twisted nightmare, and I would wake up any second. But I didn't wake up, and my baby wasn't there. The aftermath. I was hysterical. I screamed. I sobbed. I demanded that they find him. The hospital went into a frenzy. Security was called. Cameras were checked. And that's when the most horrifying revelation came to light. The footage showed a figure, cloaked in shadows, entering the morgue the night before. The timestamp showed it was just hours before I received the phone call. The figure moved with purpose, heading straight for my baby's drawer. Then they were gone, and so was he. The unanswered questions. The hospital launched an investigation, but it was too late. My baby was gone, and no one knew where. The authorities got involved, but as time passed, the trail went cold. There were no leads, no suspects, nothing. I was left with a wound even deeper than before, a grief that now carried the weight of unanswered questions. Who took my baby, and why? Some nights I lay awake wondering if I'll ever get the answers, if I'll ever find him. If the call I received was someone trying to tell me, warn me, that something had gone horribly wrong. But all I have now is silence, and the memory of a phone call that never should have happened. If this story shook you to your core, don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and let me know your thoughts in the comments. What do you think happened? Who do you think made that call? Let's talk about it, because some stories should never be left unanswered. Extended investigation and final thoughts. Days turned into weeks. The police continued their investigation, but with little to go on, hope faded. The hospital tried to sweep everything under the rug, calling it a tragic mistake. But mistakes don't erase bodies. Mistakes don't steal children from their final resting places. I began my own search, contacting funeral homes, checking hospitals, even going to underground networks. My baby was out there somewhere, and I wouldn't stop until I found the truth.